Okay, so hello YouTube. We're gonna do the review of the upcoming patch. So they tuned a lot of stuff because a lot of stuff needed to be addressed. Starting with two heroes, actually hero power get changed. So we have an Alexstrasza, a powerful dragon, which used to be passive discover. Now you have to spend 1 gold. So this is a nerf, but if you think about this, like if you look at my previous game, I leveled on turn 5 to Tavern 4, and the ability to hero power and discover dragon immediately gonna save you some HP. From also what I've seen, Alexstrasza gonna get tiny bit more armor, but so that will be honestly negligible change. Even if you have to spend 1 gold for discover, it's still really good, comparable to Queen Ashara, but they also nerf the body. Therefore, I'm not sure about Alexstrasza. At 10 armor, I think currently at high MMR gonna be kinda sketchy. And body is tier 5. Body is tier 5, which is gonna go to him later, but he get kinda severely nerfed. This change was needed. Alexstrasza was way too consistent. It was kinda also a hero that you have 5 HP and you probably get top 4 anyway. But very annoying, very frustrating to play versus, so that's a necessary change. And they also changed Onyxia, which is now Avenge 4, so back to 4. It used to be 4 in the past, and she received a buff. One of the reasons she get nerfed, someone pointed this out yesterday, Rolling Rallier is getting buffed. It attacks by, now the dragons whenever they attack get +3/+1 instead of +2/+1. Therefore the synergy with the webs was probably a bit too big, and they were a bit concerned. Onyxia was kinda not super overperforming hero, so this is probably just to prevent the broken interaction, because the next balance patch is probably in a month or stuff, like we don't know, so they probably just do that preemptively. There's plethora of change of the armor, which you can look here, you can pause if you want to, or you can go to the patch notes, the link gonna be in the description below. Anyway, they kinda gave less armor to the hero whose body get buffed to balance these things out, and they give more armor to heroes who actually get nerfed. There's plethora of bodies who went straight to tier 6, which is kinda insane. We're gonna talk that a bit in the future, but you have the reference armor here for duos, high armor, high MMR and low MMR. You can check it out. I'm not gonna go too super into details. We're gonna talk about it tiny bit, like Galwing, Scabs, Murloc, Holmes stuff when we're gonna talk about the actual changes. So as already mentioned, Alexstrasza is now tier 5, +6/+6. +3/+3 and is a 6/6. So the body is price promo Drake basically. As you can see, previous game I had the brand gold on this and Draconic. That's one build you can go for. Getting the perma scaling is not that bad. It's kind of like Begurgle, very similar, but also buffs during the fight, so synergy with price promo Drake. But the fact that it's tier 5 and Alex has only 10 armor, it's kinda scary. So I'm not sure how good that hero gonna be. It probably will need more armor to be competitive at high MMR, otherwise the risk is too high. But we also have to add the Ghoul-acabra, the mighty fool who rule the meta, get nerfed. Therefore, that Rado base build gonna be weaker, so Dragon's gonna pop off a bit more. Therefore, maybe Alex gonna be in distant play in the meta. Another body who actually get nerfed is Imperial Defender, and Queen Ashara probably is back now. It used to be the best hero. It was so busted with Deep Blue, the synergy was amazing, and it still exists, but the body is tier 6 now, so you have to pay, I think 6 more golds to get it. The reason is very simple. This Ashara was the best hero in the meta. It was the most consistent hero who can always get top 4. If you low roll, you get top 4. If you high roll, you get easy top 1, and often you maybe get top 2 to super high roller. It was extremely consistent, because with Deep Blue being on Tavern 3, you should be able to pick up even 1 copy of it, and that was all you need to scale your Deep Blue spellcraft to tremendous size. And Imperial Defender provided such a big tempo that you were never taking 15, you always had the time to level to Tavern 5. And between like Zesty, Deep Blue, this scaling things nicely, you also had the Eyes of Edmother, which you can golden this body and have even more of them, which makes you invincible. You can get scanned, but you couldn't get outstarted pretty much by any build. Barrow maybe some Ghoul-acabra with Max, so this was necessary change. Tier 6 I think is appropriate, because the other solution was probably just changing the hero power back to 30 attack, which will slow down the hero but make him kinda feel bad to play. So this is a change I like, because this is body that fuses tier 6 with the synergy with currently of the game. That's a great change I think. I think Queen Ashara is still gonna be good, this being said, because while you probably get this on tier 7 and you probably have to under-level tiny bit, the strat with the blue gonna be still very consistent, and meta gonna slow down a bit because with no Ghoul-acabra, it's less likely that on 10-7 someone or 10-8 discover that deals 15 to you. So if meta slows down, so you have tiny bit more time and you find some decent early game, this Queen Ashara hero can be quite good still. Next one is Captain Hogar, and this change is necessary, so after you buy 2 pirates, not just one. Reason is very simple, you could go infinite with just 2 Tethys. Between your hero power to Tethys and you just level to 6, you just were infinite but just by cycling the 1 pirate in the shop. Because you're gonna get gamblers, you're gonna get some triples, and you're gonna get more Tethys. So therefore this was necessary change to break the infinite loop. It's still very good, you can still probably go for this infinite loop. But since it's 2 pirates, right? Since it's 2 pirates, but you will need to maybe don't triple it, sell your body, go for 2 more, and then you have infinite loop again, I guess. But it's very much difficult to set up, so this change was necessary. Hogar was overperforming, so they had to lower his armor and become kind of like glass cannon hero, which doesn't really feel good to play with, so I like this change. And I think they also didn't, maybe they give him more armor, let me scroll. No, there's no Hogar addressed, I think. Maybe he did get actually. What is age? Why it's not alphabetical order? Fuck you to Blizzard. Yeah, I'm gonna cut that part out. Anyway, necessary change. The next hero is Acolyte of Yogg-Saron. It's a tier 5 now, and there is also some change to Curse of the Flesh. So they nerf Curse of the Flesh. This was literally the worst you could have gotten in the early game, and they even nerf it. So I guess with nerfing this, they also kind of tuned down, because this was the worst to get, unless you high roll and you land this on your biggest unit and actually multiply the stats, but even then was very underwhelming compared to other options. Okay, so this being tier 5 just totally makes sense. The Yogg with Ghoul-acabra being nerfed will be too consistent of the hero. You win early game fights, you get your body on 10-6, you can get triple, immediately discover a 6 drop on 10-7 and get the win condition, and it feels really good, so this change was necessary. You cannot also golden it via Eyes of Erdmother, which is kind of a big deal because you could have gone for like 2 golden, and this kind of this is actually what we're seeing in the meta, so that's also a good change, I would say. Yogg needed some addressing. So next year I'll get actually address is sub-rank is now at 6-6, the effects stay the same, is a tier 5. It's a kind of cosmetic change, but I assume this hero was overperforming. We can actually go to Aegis replay and check out, we have the stats. At lower MMR, so I think this is not for high MMR when sub-rank wasn't really like the most powerful hero, but yeah, like at 6k MMR, 6 plus, its average placement is 4.0, like around that. So it's actually quite high pick rate as well, so this change was definitely warrant. Because if we go to 11k, the placement of this hero is 4.1, so I guess it's still really good. I guess this hero is really warranted a minor nerf, even at high MMR. I guess at 8k range is probably get worse. Yeah, at 8k it's actually 4.2, which is probably a bit more representative, because there is no like carry by the best players tax. So yeah, minor nerf, honestly probably warranted by the stats, especially that they nerf other stuff, so kinda to keep it in tune. Next body in very similar fashion to that is Lich B, that body become now a tier 4. So those changes are just simply to tone down those heroes who are performing really well, to kind of put them back into the pack, to kind of balance things out like the balance patch should do. So another decent change. I didn't have the personality, I was not able to pick Lich B a single time, but from what I seen, the hero was actually, because there's a nice synergy between Percussionist and your hero power, so this body will grow actually quite big. You could go for Cycle Bid, and with enough Percussionist, this can actually go to hundreds, be your second biggest unit after Flaunting Watcher, but like really big, so the Demon Cycle build are probably very viable, mostly because Percussionist, so necessary change, lesser consistency, harder to triple and stuff like that. Another hero, and we have to mention when we speak about the better cards buddies, Draconic Deathscale is out, so the card I used in the previous game with Alexstrasza to get some extra stats is out. It's probably gonna come back after buddies rotate out in few months or weeks, but there is no Draconic Deathscale. There is still Rydak, there is still Merkai and Dreamer's Embrace, but it's gonna be way harder to find it. You will still see some infinite builds, but you cannot really find Draconic Deathscale, cycle it, trickle the Battle Cry, get your stuff like on Sky Captain Craig, therefore it's gonna get toned down. You have to wait at the end of the turn, or maybe you find the Dreamer's Embrace with Labber. Maybe you play Labber just to find more Dreamer's Embrace, that would be actually kind of hilarious. Anyway, it's now tier 3, so also you probably won't be able to get it on turn 5 on a consistent basis, Alex. Like Maeve doesn't have the hero power that helps in the early game that much. Therefore, this is probably tier 6 and it's also very expensive. So I think this is a big deal, but Maeve was one of the best heroes, so the necessary change. Being able, because like this body was designed when the hero power used to be a bit weaker. With the new hero power and the fact that we can play this with body with Bran and you can immediately get the golden unit on the same turn, it's just kind of busted. so they had to do some addressing. So it's also harder to keep it on board and then triple to get additional discovery and proc the golden Battle Cry. It's actually kind of more difficult now because it's more expensive. So this change is also, I think, good. Honestly, I would say this is too little, but they did remove Draconic Deathscale, so that's probably just enough. Another hero is Dr. Holiday. Honestly, this body is so powerful. You just cycle 5 drops, you get a lot of discovers, spam 6 drops. So if you can have a good early game and on turn 8 you are on tavern 5 with more than 20 HP, you just spam some 5 drops, get some discovers, that should carry you. And great synergy with Nala. So you could go for that route, like spam 6 drop, go for Nala, maybe get a golden Nala, maybe get some Greyman champion. And the fact that you can actually triple it, triple it, so and reset the effect and get so much more value was kind of insane. So this is probably also a warrant nerf. I don't mind this. Like a lot of bodies went to tavern 6. I don't mind this one as well. But the next one is kind of head scratching. So the part which is Dead Speaker, the body and the quills are terrible, right? And this body was kind of, I was saying that the hero would be quite good if this body was like, I used to play it, I've actually played this hero a few times this meta. If the body was kind of a bit cheaper, because it's easier to get it golden and then you can get actually Platero of Gems, but it's tier 6 now. And this hero, according to Aegis Replay, let me check out the stats. According to Aegis Replay, that at 8k, the average placement is 4.6, even at 11k. It's like, I guess 4.3, so there is some skill. Like, I know how to play this hero, so probably I put some higher win rate because I get decent results with this hero, but it's kind of scary. So part of the reason they did that is kind of, once again, preemptively, because Gem Smuggler is back. To leave the Quillbars who were in terrible spot, they brought Gem Smuggler, which I'm not happy about. Even though they removed Draconic Deathscale, there is still Merkai, so in like Murloc, Quillbar lobby, you're still gonna go for this build, Gem Smuggler, buff your gems tiny bit. It's gonna be very frustrating to play versus. So I'm not happy they brought back Gem Smuggler. I think they should have done some different stuff with the Quillbar. This body being tier 6 means that you probably won't be able to triple it ever. I'll be very honest, like spending, you literally will need to spend like 12 to 15 golds to get this, and then you just kind of skip a 10, so it would be very difficult to triple this now. And if the lobby is long enough, obviously yes, but it's gonna be extremely difficult to do so. So I don't like this change. I don't like this change, I have to be honest. That's very head scratching, to be honest. That's not true. Because like at low MMR, this hero has average win rate 4.4 at 6k. 4.4 is very close to average. Average is 4.5. So yeah, I don't think this is a low MMR rank or low MMR king. Like 6k is above average tiny bit. Like people are probably around 5k now, so there's probably like the average placement is probably a bit higher, but I don't think it's like a king of the low MMR like Ini is probably. But yeah, so I personally don't like it because the hero is probably not playable now. It was borderline playable, maybe with more armor, and maybe with just Smuggler. Maybe we will need to test it out, but this is a change I'm not a fan of. They also have the Snake Eyes, so I'm a bit surprised they move it to tier 6. Because the hero has so much RNG right now between all the rolls, and imagine you get this body and you roll 1 into 1, it's gonna feel terrible. I think it should be tier 5, honestly. So they had to make it tier 5, so you cannot roll 5, get Eyes of Earthmother and gold on it, but making it tier 6 is a bit too much. Because even if you somehow, like, let's say you roll 3 and then you roll 6, you get it on turn 4, and even if you get Discover a 6 drop, that's gonna be like not that often. And imagine you spend like, basically it's gonna be so expensive to get out, and you roll 1 on 2, you're just gonna top 8. It's too much of a gamble of a hero, so I don't like this change. Like 6 between tier 4 and tier 6 is like 6 gold difference, I think. So like that's actually Platero, that's like almost whole 10 more that you need to like invest. It's probably a bit too much. I just don't like the pattern that's gonna be very, like, you get this body out, better roll 4, 5 or 6 or go next. So I don't like that one. But the change was needed because the synergy between Eyes of Her Mother was just too much, so I was expecting tier 5 is tier 6. Snake Eyes obviously can get more armor, so maybe then you have more time, but we'll see how this goes. Did Snake Eyes get more armor actually? Maybe I can check. If this was in alphabetical order, I could check that immediately. Doesn't seem like they should get more armor on the first glance. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm not a fan of this change. I think it is over nerfed, and I don't like over nerfing stuff because obviously I'm a competitive player and I also paid perks. I want useful heroes on my hero selection. Snow Elemental get nerfed. That was reasonable change because like they gonna nerf the Death Rider build. So Tremvala, who can force Golden Tavern, Tempest, Golden Wraith, almost every lobby gonna be a big issue. Even though there is no Draconic Deathscale for that build, it's still gonna be very consistent. You're gonna sprinkle some Rag, get some Rocks. Get sprinkled some Bran as well. The consistency gonna be there, even though there's not that many elementals in the early games, but if you can somehow survive as Tremvala, this body was really strong, so the change is probably needed. Okay, so Raka Nishu, this is the king of low MMR. Like, Raka Nishu is actually king of low MMR. But he already get nerfed by armor, so the placement is like kinda perfect balance at 6k, it's 4.5. At 11k it's 4.3, so he's like perfectly balanced hero. So this change was not necessary. This change in my opinion was not necessary, but probably what happened, we had the hotfix, and the hotfix kinda hit the sweet spot with the number of armor. Like he actually is 5 armor hero now. So they didn't need to touch him, he was in the sweet spot. Like 4.5 is a sweet spot, 4.3 at high MMR. I think he was at sweet spot, so nerfing this, even if you give him more armor, is probably bad. So I think they kinda, this is the problem, they did the hotfix and then they have to already prepare the balance part, so they couldn't wait to get the data in. Therefore this is probably not necessary change. Like honestly, Rakanishu probably should have, like, speaking from high MMR perspective, probably 8 to 10 armor even, but it was very consistent. So I don't like this change, it's probably not necessary one, but I mean, that's the problem, right? You did one balance, they do some hotfix to adjust the stuff, and that was enough, but you don't have enough time to look at it, and then there's something like this happened. I probably expect they're gonna buff his armor probably to a really high number, because he's gonna definitely fall off, because he's already an average hero, or tiny above average hero, so therefore, like, he's gonna drop. Like, he actually gonna drop now. They're actually gonna drop, so that's not change that wasn't needed, but they cannot sleep through them. Okay, so similar to the Greybow, I think Greybow also doesn't need a nerf. Like, Greybow was probably really strong. Part of the reason is Ghoul-acabra, and the Ghoul-acabra get nerfed, therefore this hero didn't need to get nerfed. Yes. The base build is based on Max and Ghoul-acabra, and then Ghoul-acabra and Beast, and Ghoul-acabra and Undead. That's the only thing you want to play on this hero. So this was not a Valorant change. I think maybe they look at the stats and they needed to, like, okay, let's do that, but in my honest opinion, this is not a needed change. Because the body is not that powerful. Even if you like the Greybow, you can actually go to Ages Replay. Once again, Lovey Side tier 7. Like, at high MMR, Greybow is 4.4, so like average hero at high MMR. At low MMR, the Greybow is 4.5. Therefore, they address the armor for this hero, I think, in the recent hotfix as well. So once again, the hero who hits sweet spot, who actually get nerfed indirectly because they nerfing Ghoul-acabra, and now Buddy also get nerfed. So like he get hit really hard last week, and Greybow is trash tier now. Don't pick it. Now I don't think this hero. I simply don't see this hero being good. Buddy is too expensive. Like, you can get some max synergy setup, but even then it's very difficult. But you will never be able to triple the Buddy and then die. Bad change. Honestly, this is a bad change. But once again, they simply didn't have enough time to look at the stats. Like, they actually fixed the hero with the hotfix, but like obviously there's a problem with the very short timeline. So the elites get nerfed. This was needed. At least is really good. Assuming they fixed all the bugs with the body. There's some bugs which is kind of crazy, but yeah, this is needed because what you can do is just spam the hero power, then get this. At tier 2 I was often keeping it. I'm speaking of the previous meta. You can keep it, and then you can triple it. Then reset the hero power to 0, or to nada, null. I said I didn't Polish. 0, it's Polish. Sorry. And then you can do some stuff as well. Like you can obviously proc this Better Cry. Sometimes it would make sense, but there's no Draconic Deathscale and Dreamer's Embrace costs 3 gold, so that's probably not a good one. But basically, at least, but you were able to play at least in the manner that you spam hero power every turn. That's really strong because the hero power costs like 1, 2, 3, then probably go to 0, then 1, 2, 3 again. So like, every turn you discover is quite powerful. So this is just, it's gonna be way harder to. It's gonna be way harder to triple it, keep this on board, and spam the hero power every turn. So that's probably a necessary change. Okay, so this one, I'm actually mad. Like, Vol'jin is a trash tier. The only good synergy, and maybe I'm missing something, is with Shell Elemental. But how hard at HMR, this hero had like 7 armor or 8, is to get to Tavern 5, don't die in the process, and then find the Shell Elemental. That's like kind of impossible task. Like in my lobbies, maybe there was like 2 Vol'jin games I faced that were able to pull that off. And even if you pull that off, you have to keep narrow board, so you're weak to scam. Then you have to find maybe multiple Shell Elementals, which is not that easy because your hero doesn't generate economy, so you have to just roll that stuff. So this is just drives me crazy. Like Vol'jin goes to the bin, because like you cannot do that. Like there's no way you can get this body out. You go to Tavern 5 and don't die at high MMR, so like 8k plus. It's simply impossible. It was already borderline playable, and now it's kinda even less. Okay, let's go back. So Reno, that's a reasonable change, honestly. So I think Reno actually get more armor. Let me check. I think Reno actually get more armor. Yes, Reno get more armor. So I think this is a right trade-off. Because you can still play this. So this body used to be tier 1, now it's tier 2. But you actually get 6 more armor. I think this is just gonna create better feeling when you play. Because at 7 armor, you play early game, you whiff, you die. Then your body helps you recover a tiny bit of tempo, but still you are in a bad spot. So with extra armor, you pay a tiny bit more for a body, so it's probably gonna even out. But if you have like good early game, right? If you have good early game and you have more armor, you're gonna be more happy as Reno. It's not gonna create this feeling, I didn't hit my 4-5 on turn 1. I didn't hit my premium unit on turn 1. I didn't hit my chief choice on turn 3 and I'm just dead. Because you have tiny bit of armor to tank, to maybe set up Discover of higher tier. The body is still really powerful for Death Rattle builds. You can still probably play Ghoul-acabra. You can still probably base on Titus base build. So body is quite powerful. So it's like appropriate plays, I would say. Reno also might get more armor. So you can, this hero is like Reno is one of the heroes you can balance the armor because you have powerful hero power. So you can sprinkle more armor if the hero is underperforming. Okay, piloted Willy Tron gonna now summon 5 drops. Like, isn't this a buff? Okay, so this is actually a buff. Because 5 drops are better than 4 drops. You can get Fungus. You play some spells, you can summon Big Fungus, you can summon Leroy's, you can summon the Bramble Witch. So I'm speaking about this this is a 6 drop now, so if you hero power, spam hero power on your unit, this is gonna copy it. So the time you're gonna get the body, you're gonna have a piloted Willotron who's gonna summon 5 drops out of it. That's not gonna be the greatest experience, and 5 drops are superior to the 4 drops. So this is actually buff. Because if you think about this, it's kind of killers. If you think about this, you're gonna pay tiny bit more for this body, but tempo it generates is way higher. And then you probably will never tripling this unless you are in super good spot, and then you triple this, and it's gonna spend the whole turn to do that. So this is kind of, if you follow me, right? So you're gonna pay tiny bit more gold, but you're actually gonna get stronger. So you pay this gold for the reason. And then if you are in a good spot, you're gonna triple this, and if you are a bad spot, then you just don't care, it's a tier 6 and you have to pay more. Therefore, this might be a buff to the hero. And it's definitely gonna be very frustrating to face this, because someone gonna get this on turn 7 and he summoned 5 drops out of it, and there's no way you can beat that. Assuming he get like Fungus, assuming he get like Bramble Witch, there's a Leroy, there's some other powerful ones. It's actually gonna be kinda annoying. Yeah, obviously buff to a Finlay. Finlay actually get buffed because a lot of bodies are tier 6 now, so Finlay get actually buffed. That's a different story. We have Professor Petricide. I already did mention. I did play this hero today. He felt very smooth, very consistent. So making this body tier 4 is actually reasonable. But honestly, I don't know, because they are nerfing Ghoul-acabra, so that rather base build gonna get weaker. So therefore, this is probably the change I will probably hold, because he already get less armor, and they nerfing a Ghoul-acabra, so this is a change I will personally hold and see what's gonna happen. But it's probably just, okay, let's do that, because the hero is quite consistent. The change I don't understand, and I kinda understand at the same time, is Ini. Ini is stable at all ranges. At above 6k, like Ini is actually, according to Ages replay, at 6k plus 4.7, that's below average. At 11k it's 5-0, unplayable. And this body is one of the weakest. And it's tier 5 now. You basically play with nobody. Nobody. This is madness. I assume this hero has to have insane win rate at below 6k. I think entry level, so like for the new players and like 4k players, this is probably the best hero, and they did that. This is just madness. From my point of view, it's just madness. Already unplayable hero, get nerfed. Even with more armor, it's just not good. And as mentioned, they nerfing Ghoul-acabra, so even if the Ini is quite good hero to pull the Scrap Scraper Ghoul-acabra strat, they're nerfing Ghoul-acabra. It's no longer triggered, therefore even Ini cannot execute that game plan better. She could have maybe executed that game plan better than other heroes, but that's no longer the case. So this is just crazy change. It's just crazy change. Honestly, this is madness. Okay, so AFK get nerfed, but this is just kinda... This is just... they just throw it. This is aimed at low MMR as well. Because basically the AFK was probably really good at the lower ranks. So this lowered the base stats of the body, which is kind of reasonable. Honestly, I don't mind change like this. Because this change, not gonna affect the high MMR, whatever this is like 3-2 or 3-5 or 5-4. It's not, this is not gonna really affect the high MMR at all. Just still gonna get this body, you're still gonna get enough tempo, and then you level and try to find a win condition. This change actually make the hero unplayable. So this change is aimed for low MMR, but I hate it. This change I don't mind, and I know it's low. I'm at lower MMR, not high MMR. And we gotta go on. The Curator, literally the same. When was the last time we played the Curator? I think the part of the reason this get nerfed, cause I think they're gonna bring a, cause so Curator currently is banned in demon lobbies, but I think they'll enable Curator in the demons lobbies again. And part of the reason it's banned, because they change how the cultist works with Venomous. So if you Venomous this via Belcher, or like that's probably some other ways, but mostly via Belcher, so either this Mishmash or the Amalgam, you're gonna summon this from cultists with Venomous. So this was really strong. That's why they disabled Curator in Demons lobbies, but I think they're gonna rework that. We will see if it's a patch notes, or maybe they do that for the future. Anyway, this change feels like this, right? So the meta gonna be less Death Rattle based. Maybe big stats gonna become popular again. So this is probably preemptive change. Also, this is I'm at the low MMR when the Mishmash Amalgam was probably really strong duo. You can find Deep Blue, you can find like Utility Drone. There's multiple ways to get a really nice comp going. So it's probably aim at that. Even Gem Smuggler, like this cool burst, like Necrolite spell. There's multiple ways to make this tremendously big. So some buffs now. Jesus, I cannot speak. I should speed up because I want to play on the new patch in 15 minutes. Okay, so we have Karl, tier 3, so George Bass unplayable. Is it playable still? Probably it's still not playable, because after you use your hero power, give your Divine Shield minions plus to attack. This is still very underwhelming. I think the power level of the meta, like power of the game overall, Battlegrounds went so up, so I was expecting they're gonna actually buff this hero. I wish they get it 3 attack or 4 attack, or change the requirement to getting it. So I'm not a fan of this. This is probably not enough, basically what I'm saying. It's probably not enough to, because in the past we had the card called Gems Peter and there was Egem. So those 2 cards, and then you pick the George in the Quillbor's lobby, you use those 2 cards and you actually get really nice scaling. That's no longer the case. So there's no synergy between Divine Shield, there's not even a, there used to have a dragon, 3/6 dragon, who whatever you proc Divine Shield get more stats. We used to have Bolvar, who remembers the Bolvar. There's no longer synergy between Divine Shield, so George is kinda struggling. Deathrad's build's gonna be still quite good as well, and there is Ghoul at Tavern 2 and Tavern 4, so everyone has it. So I think this is simply not enough for the judge. This could be maybe tier 2, and then you, with bodies of tier 1, tier 2, it's easier to triple them and then get additional discovery to get a spike, and then you get a golden effect of the body, the more powerful effect. Therefore this is probably not good enough. Next one is Watwin. So this is a hero, this is once again aim at low MMR. When people, I think this hero is very frustrating to play at lower ranks, because you basically whiff and you feel like you play with nobody. So they make it a tier 2, so you can, like, you spend the whole turn getting this and then you guess incorrectly and you are like, what the hell, this hero sucks. So this is basically aimed at low MMR, so the hero doesn't feel as bad if you miss, because it's just tier 2, so if you miss, get good. So I think that's it, because I don't think the Murloc Homes needed buff of the body. This is one of the heroes that could be adjusted by changing the armor, because he has decent hero power, body is also quite decent, so you can just do that adjustment by changing the armor. But they decided just for probably Phil to make it tier 2. Yeah, it seems really good. We probably will play this hero. So you can actually very easy triple it. You can steal the body from your hero power, get 2 of them very fast, so there's probably some nice strats for this hero right now. And I'm gonna skip the Edwin. Let's go to Skyblazer, because it's basically the same case. Skyblazer is kind of the same, like it's actually, I mean, it's very similar. It's not about the feeling, but the hero was underperforming because the skill cap was quite high. Therefore they buff it, but the hero was actually tremendously good. Obviously you're gonna get worse because Ghoul-acabra, so when there is a popular unit in the meta, it's very easy to steal it. You could apply the Skyblazer in the manner that you're gonna steal that in the late game, prepare your setup, so whenever you get the cards Ghoul-acabra, you could just have the Draddles in on board. So you can play in a specific manner, and there's also a lot of better cry space body, which you can steal as well. They also get nerfed, so you're not gonna see as often Zephyr's, Krag and stuff. So maybe in this new meta the Skyblazer will like underperform. This is not a change that I will probably do. Once again, this is from high MMR, but it's probably just because people are not that as good at the game as I am, and he was probably very frustrating to play at lower ranks, so that's a buff. But for me, it's very surprising. Going to Edwin, this is the worst body in the game at tier 2, but it's tier 1 now, so you can triple this probably for free on tonight into 6-drop, get a Tethys, and then this body maybe become online. I don't know. Okay, so this change, I mean, I like this change. I did explain this a lot. Like tier 1 bodies are actually really good because you can triple them. The effect is actually not that bad because we have talent spells right now. And you can get this for free on turn 5, assuming you win some fights. You can get this for free. You get like basically maybe a 4/4. It's not a terrible one. One good thing is you can, if you win 2 first fights, you can get this on turn 5. Then you obviously take some damage, but you're gonna recover a tiny bit of tempo, and then you basically spend the gold in the early game, so maybe on turn 7 with some help of a gambler you can discover a 6-drop as well. So there are some actually changes, I mean there's actually some relevancy to this change. So Wanderer get buffed, I mean they already gave him, or it, I don't know, sorry, damn, I'm gonna cut that part. I think it's his non-binary character, so it's probably it, if not correct me. Warden, it's actually tier 3 now, that's a nice change. You can maybe now go 3-on-3 on Warden. Like, maybe I will try go 3-on-3 on Warden. I don't know how the armor, did they change the armor? Did they change the armor? Warden. They probably give him less. Yeah, him, again, idiot streamer. It's a 13 armor hero now. So less armor, so even though they buffed the body, he lost 6 armor. So I'm not sure about this honestly. I would probably keep the 19 armor and then buff the body and then see how it's going to go. But we will see. I mean, Warden needed both Warden and Rokara in very similar place they needed. Okay, so I wasn't expecting honestly this body being a tier 2, not tier 3. Rokara is terrible, like top 10 worst heroes. This body is just so bad. I don't know about tier 3. I don't know. I wish this was a tier 2. Okay, so Galwing, similar to the Edwin. The body is terrible, and part of the reason was it's just you couldn't make a good gold curve for it to get it online, and you could never get this body fast enough for the discovery. But what you can do actually now, hear me out, you can actually win first 2 fights, maybe somehow, if you went for a discovery, and then you can go for a body, and then you can discover two drops on 10-4. Because you can body for 5 gold on 10-3. Broken. Please fix. Nah, it's a necessary change. So there's probably a strat. There's probably a strat on Gelwing. You have to, but you will need to do the math to figure out exactly what's the best hero power, when to body. It's gonna be actually kind of complex, and no one gonna do the research. Literally, no one gonna do the research. So honestly, it's probably trash tier. But if someone spends some time to figure out what's the best curve, when to body, what to discover, when to get the gold, when to get the stats, it actually can be really strong. I'm not sure will I even pick this hero to try to figure it out, maybe for content. So we'll see. Okay, so this is bad change. Next one is Hearthstone Togwaggle, the King Tog. This body shouldn't be tier 4, and it's gonna get nerfed. Because what actually happened in the past, this body was tier 4, and it was too good, so they make him tier 5. They kind of forgot they kind of forgot about this hero. And this Hearthstone Togwaggle is a hidden OP hero in current metagame, and now we're gonna get the patch. It's amazing, but what you need to do is use your hero power not to die, and grid your body. Grid your body. That was the key. There's also cute synergy between Draconic Deathscale and Waxadred. You could do some crazy stuff. I mean, I had someone had the Draconic Deathscale, and there was a Tethys in shop. And guess what? I get 5 Tethyses in 110, on 10-8, I think, or 9. I'm super infinite in 110, nice body, let's go. And it's not that uncommon, honestly. So I think it's just people play this body too early, they don't get the spike, necessary spike, and they kind of complain, but this is gonna get nerfed. The Hearthstone Togwaggle is probably like close to S rank. It's gonna be super good. This being said, he had a lot of armor, so maybe they actually nerfed the armor of him. Yeah, he has 13 armor now, so I guess they kind of balance things out, because at 19 armor with body of tier 4, that would be just way too broken. Next one is Mutanus. So Mutanus, in the past was top 5 hero in the body meta, because the strat with body were that good. But obviously the body itself got nerfed, you only speed into 1 extra. So being tier 2, honestly, just great change, because like, the hero needed some help. Similar to Xyrella. Honestly, I personally think this should be tier 1 even. It's very similar to Edwin, it should be tier 1. Xyrella was like not a viable choice, because this body will never be relevant. And if this is, so at tier 2 maybe it's a tempo tool that's gonna carry you, but I wish this was tier 1. Personally. Galvix get buffed. Galvix get buffed. Alert. Galvix get buffed. Honestly, Galvix already has 10 armor. The meta gonna be less Death Rattle based, so less tempo heroes like Lich King Terron in the meta, right? Because the Ghoul-acabra get nerfed. And the body is tier 3 now, so it's kinda easier to get the second one and kinda cook, so yeah. Honestly, like from the high MMR, probably not needed. From like average population, because actually Galvix is one of the heroes who yeah, it's like at 11k, even at 11k is kinda underperforming, but at 6k is like one of the worst heroes. So I mean, they had to buff him. They had to buff him, despite how crazy that sounds, but because the hero is like 5 point average, just terrible. Okay, so Vaughn, now the body is tier 3, which probably matters, like extra gold you can get. So basically you will get this body on tier 6 and try to get a triple. Sometimes maybe you get some pen pals and you maybe can treat this out more. So yeah, that's a necessary change. One is very underwhelming. Similar to the, okay, this is actually a huge buff to the Morg, to the Fungo Master Flurg, not Morg, the Fungo Master Flurg. It's tier 3, so you can set up some stuff. Here's the issue. So the best target to get more copies of is Lookout, but it's a tier 5 now. Therefore, you have to find a shop with enough tier 5s to utilize this card properly. So you have to be a Flurg. You have to survive long enough to level to Tavern 5. Preferably find a Brown, then find a shop with a lot of 5 drops, or find Evolve spells so you can set it up. I guess one thing you can do is force the tier 6 build. So You can go for, it's extremely difficult to level to tower and 6, but maybe you can get Evolve spell and set up some 6 drops to get the Merkai set up. That's probably the best you can do, but there's also Hora, so I mean Hora is not that bad because you probably have a Brim counter. Need a change, but is Fleur good? Probably not. Okay, so this is the change. I'm very excited. Thorim get buffed. And it's really good. It's really relevant because on 10-8 you can triple, buddy. So how you want to play this hero? On 10-5 you evolve into 4-drop. On 10-6 you evolve into 5-drop. On 10-7 you evolve into 6-drop. And then you triple the body into 5-drop and get a 7-drop. So you have 6-drop, 7-drop, maybe another 7 drops. So Thorim gonna be very consistent hero now. This is a relevant change because it's way easier to triple this body, way easier to get it, and the stat line is actually 5-2 or 6-3 is usually the same. Yeah, this is true. This is true, Pablo. But there's one change for ETC. ETC actually get nerfed. They removed the jailer body from the poll from ETC, but we're gonna go to that. Oh, this is actually the worst body. Edwin body is like kinda cheating. This is what's the worst body. Daryl is terrible still. This is tier 2. Oh no, anyway, go next. I don't care. This is the worst body. It's just so bad. It's actually so bad. I mean, yeah, it's probably still worse because Edwin body is tier 1, so there you go. The worst body in the game. Probably. There's probably something worse, I forgot, but yeah. There's also one more change for Duo. If you are interested, the Mr. Chu gets to tier 5 because it was really good. I didn't play Duo, so I have no comment, but it was probably too good. So yeah, Minion pool changes. They removed the Draconic Deathscale, and they added Gem Smuggler, and they added Hunter of Gatherers. Wait, they added Hunter of Gatherers? Oh yeah, Hunter of Gatherers is a dragon, the 3/6 dragon who basically to replace it. So it's really difficult to create new cards when you do the balance patch, so they had to bring something from the past. This is a 5-drop, it's a 3/6, probably not gonna see much play because it was only good in a Caligo space build, which Draconic Deathscale was like the only reason to play the Caligos, to be honest. Therefore, and they also nerfed the Lilac, so probably you won't see Hunter of Gatherers for the most part. Maybe on some specific heroes, maybe with some Kibler synergy. When you play a lot of buffs, maybe, but it's not that great. And we have some changes. So for the beast, so 3 units get nerfed, and there's some buffs. So about the nerf, they nerfed the 3 most powerful beasts, and beasts probably are trash tier again. So beast enjoyer. This is a bit too much, honestly. I'm a bit surprised you don't nerf the Skyblazer and Trigore Lasher at the same time. It's just basically it just doesn't make sense. Like, you basically don't do that. Even if the card are overperforming, they just don't do that. This beast, like, so they nerfed the Ghoul-acabra, so this beast probably will come back to relevancy, but nerfing 2 pieces of that build is just too much, so I'm very unhappy about it. Yeah, that's why they nerf both. It's exactly a great question. That's overkill, and especially that they, yeah, that's overkill. Especially they kind of killed the Lasher. Even at 9 attack, there's like you nerf this card, and the only good way to buff attack is to go run this card, right? But this card also get nerfed, therefore this build gonna be trash tier again, probably. So I don't like those changes because they basically move some card to obscurity levels. So dragons were basically dragons of tier 4 strat was kinda playable, but other dragons were kinda bad, so there are some buffs to Electric Synthesizer and to Web Smuggler. Web Smuggler used to be 2/5 in the past, but she get nerfed to 2/3, it's 2/5 again. And they also buffed the Terek. I think it's kinda appropriate, because unless you find some synergies, buying a 4/4 was kinda feel bad. Now it's a 5/5, therefore it's so much better. And I already mentioned this, the Roaring Rider get buffed. Honestly, I think they should just remove this card. It's very toxic design, very unfun and not interactive. But it's a +3/+1. So at least they didn't reword it, because if this was +2/+2 again, I would just question the sanity. But it's actually +3/+1. That's why they also nerf Onyxia. Someone did point it out, not myself, but yeah, that's probably the reason. So yeah. Honestly, I don't like it. I mean, so dragons needed some help, so this card also didn't say as much play, so there's the reason, but I don't like the design, so. So Ghoul-acabra get nerfed, and this is the big potato, right? After a friendly Death Rider minion dies, so very similar to the Primate. I was thinking they're gonna do that. That's a good change, because how many Death Riders you can summon? Maybe up to, with the Ghastcaller, Reborn, Rapscallion. You can still get like up to 10 or 12 with the proper setup. But doesn't synergize with Parrot, doesn't stack with the Scrap Scraper. Doesn't really help you that much with Brukan. So you basically need to run a Ghastcaller Reborn, Mecha Horse Reborn, Rapscallion Recruiter, and maybe some hacks to that. Like, you basically have to have the really good setup to make this work, and it probably cannot compete with APM comps, therefore this is a good change. It's a good change, like this card no longer busted. They also moved the Moonbacon GZ to tier 2, so I guess they brought the Gem Smuggler back, and Moonbacon being on Tavern 2 is one of the reasons they nerfed the Death Speaker preemptively. This change was needed, corbels are terrible, so... By the way, hashtag buff Poki, hashtag buff Poki should be, because I don't know why they don't want to buff Poki again. The last change is Boon of Beetles. Okay, so I hate this. Like, the Boon of Beetles is a spell that summons 3 beetles with Taunt whenever there is a space. Really great tech card for the late game to play around Poison, to play around Cleaves. A really great tech card. It was too strong, but it's summoned now 1. It's a 10-10. So this Beast get already so much nerfed, because this was a key core spell for the Gold Ring build, so you get more big units, and you protect your stuff so all your parrots can go off, for example. So this should summon 2, I think. I think 2 taunts, 5/5 taunts will be so much better, even if this costs 1 gold. So they kinda kill the unit and the purpose. It doesn't play around poison at all. Doesn't help the beasts. It costs 1 gold, you're gonna pick this up for tempo when you power level, and that's pretty much the only real use, so not a fun. Some water. Okay, so there's other changes as well. So Mouseworn, Soulkeeper, aka Jailer Body, get removed from ETC pool. They already removed the Sylvanas body for balance purpose, I think, before this patch hit. So this is a great change. We advise, high MMR players advise for that. Like, ETC had to get that addressed. It get kind of buffed with, it can kind of get buffed and nerfed, because there's a lot of trash tier bodies now on like tier 2. There's like Edwin body get wards, like Daryl body, but they also added this Varanus, so the pool of ETC actually get changed. There's also like Baby Aleg now. You cannot get Mutanus body, by the way. I think you also cannot get Xyrella, I think Baby Aleg is not in the pool, but maybe I'm forgetting something. So yeah, ETC needed some nerfs, so there is a nerf. They also changed the interaction between Lightning Invocation and Spirit of the Raptor and KT, so you cannot no longer trigger it during the shop phase. Player figure out that you can play Brukan, you can kill your body with KT, and you can Death Rattle your units infinitely and run Ghoul-acabra. Obviously they changed Ghoul-acabra, but that was kinda silly. You can also kill the shop. You can actually AoE the shop, which is kinda hilarious. So they changed the interaction, and there is some changes for the duo as well.